Starting June 1st, it will begin a new installment of the Hebrew and Bible Academy. The full 12 weeks will be concentrating on the beginning and fall of Babylon, history, the understanding of the religious aspect of Babylon, as well as what? The theme from Babylon, Rome to America. In the Academy, this is what you can look forward to. New lessons, the secret war of Edom against Israelites. But one thing we've never delved into was bringing forth the history, showing all the contentions and war Edom has waged against Israelites even until our present time. The desolation of abomination, how to calculate time according to God, and I can't wait for this lesson, Armageddon. The final war in heaven. If you've never been in the Academy, you want to be in this one. June 1st, we're in open enrollment right now. Go to historytimes.org to enroll. Hebrew and Bible Academy, you're invited. Shabbat Shalom, come on in.
To Zion, I was lost, but now I'm found.
Blessings.
I'm a child of Israel. I heard the sound, hear the sound. Please give me the strength to stand today. With my eyes towards the east, show me the way to Zion.
To Zion.
I'm on my knees.
Come on in, hit the like button,
Laying
please.
my life on the line, I'm begging, please. Please don't let me fall, give me the strength. Place my feet, Lord, guide my path, show me the way.
Show me the way.
To Zion, I opened up the book and see that the apple of your eye included me. And through the tribulation, I know I must stand for a new heaven, a new earth. Show me the way to Zion. I'm on my knees, laying my life on the line. I'm begging, please. Please don't let me fall. Give me the strength. Place my feet, guide my path. Show me
Shalom.
the way to Zion. To Zion. I feel the Spirit calling me, drawing me back home. It's happened with my family.
Blessings, blessings.
I know it won't be long. One day you're gonna look for me, and I'll be gone home. Yeah, Israel is calling us back home to Zion. I'm on my knees. I lay down my life. I'm begging, please. Please don't let me fall. Give me the strength.
Moses' body.
Yes, sir. Place my feet, guide my path, show me the way to Zion.
Verse 9.
My brother. On our way to Zion, where the elders of the Gathering of Christ Church here, with your weekly broadcast, Sabbath lesson. And brothers and sisters, this broadcast has been a long time coming. The mark of the beast is here. That's our lesson for today. It's been a long time coming. Now, the beast have been operating since the beginning. But the mark of the beast would take time. It would take time. They tried it at the Tower of Babel to unite all nations. The Most High scattered the nations at the Tower of Babel so that Satan could not use the people on earth as servants, being divided. Okay? So what happens? Satan sets up a new Nimrod with the same ancient science that it took to build the Tower of Babel. And through the computer system would bring all of those nations' children back, that's right, to build the tower. And we're here. Now that the tower has been built through modern day technology, they can now administer the mark. Now, most people just view the technology in of itself, which would be a currency system, which is absolutely correct. But what are most people ignoring with this mark of the beast prophecy? Like our God, who drew a line in the sand when his people was coming out of Egypt, purging those who weren't worthy for the promised land. Guess what? Satan, the god of this world, his mark is drawing a line in the sand. And that's the piece that most people are ignoring. His mark is drawing a line in the sand for those who would serve him, bow and obey to him. That's what this mark is. It's choosing the God you serve outright. So first they had to cultivate a mindset of carnality throughout the populations of the earth who would choose this carnal life over the promised kingdom Christ is returning with. So the concept of the mark has always been here. But the technology wasn't assumed in past times. Since the Tower of Babel, that technology wasn't assumed. But now they have accomplished it. And you know what? Too many people. Satan has no need now for the people. You've already accomplished his technology, opening up portals in preparation for the final battle of Armageddon. Now that people have sided to help him with the technology, he don't care anymore. He says, I got it now. I'm able to build my tower. 2012, they turned on CERN. They connected the whole world to the virtual world. That's the technology component. It was the medium that would separate us from our God to pay more attention to a lower self. And that lower self will choose, listen to me clearly, they will choose the mark, the majority. Why will they choose the mark? Well, understand this, folks. We have people in this earth that will choose the technology over their own loved ones. They would rather leave their relationship than to have someone, that's right, their other half, control or put parameters on how they use telephones. You would have people scream. Let me check your phone real quick. Now, let me tell you, I don't have those problems. Because if I have to ask someone to check their phones, guess what? They're already on the other side of things. The fact that I have to ask them that, I'm out of that relationship. Period. So I don't have those issues. Okay? But you would have people in the world who would choose keeping their phone, living in an alternative virtual world with so-called friends that they don't even know. They'd rather choose that over their own blood, over their own relationships. Even children. You try to take a phone from a child that's in a teenager when now that's where the real life is, opposed to being outside, operating normally, finding someone organically that you can say, well, okay, I know the Most High must have did this because we had to be in the same place at the same time. I didn't have the luxury of screening a person like we're shopping at a window. I can't say that the Most High put this together because I was window shopping. We didn't have that luxury. We had to find the people we had to be with. And by that, there was more value to the relationship. Even children. You take away their phone, you got teenagers who will call CPS and say they're being abused, and something happened to them just so that they could be separated from their families to use the technology. Even toddlers. A toddler, a scream and all that, and put up a fit until mommy or daddy places the phone in front of them, and now that's their convenient distraction to stop the noise. Now, I'm not saying that the phone in of itself is the mark of the beast, because it isn't. It's a tool. But all in all, it's cultivating a society where Satan now can draw a line showing forth who in the earth belongs to him. The mark of the beast is here. But it first starts with the minds of the people. Right? Think about this. If the people resist, they couldn't go to the next stage of their plans. Because we must cooperate. Why? Because the Most High Spirit is within us. He can't move forward unless we volunteer to go forward. The one spirit Satan cannot defy is the God who made us. And that spirit is in us. It is in us. And only if he can convince us to go forward can he go forward. That's how much power we have. The majority of the earth has chosen the virtual world over this beautiful earth the Most High created for us. Now, there's so many angles and ways I can go into this lesson. So many angles, so many ways. I'm checking out Elder Lawyer's shirt. You would think we had a conversation to pair up.
Right.
Yeah. I'm looking at the shirt. I'm like, hold up. People will think that we had a conversation. But the brother sent you a few of them, me a few of them. And I mean, these shirts are super bad. I'm going to tell you the truth. He killed it with this one. But anyway. But anyway, the beast is a mindset first when it comes to accepting the mark. And I told everyone months ago, I said when it first happened, when they first locked people down, I was speaking directly to believers. Speaking directly to believers, directly to them. And I said, this is the test run. This is the test run. What did I say? Go back to a few of my classes years ago during the time of COVID. The ones that, a lot of them, they struck in threatening our page because we were so in front of what they were trying to do. I told people, many of the churches, especially the black churches, isn't going to make it out of this. They're not going to be able to recover. Why? Because they built their foundation on sand. You can't be in a church and teach prosperity, 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 money, 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 and that's your sermon from week to week, without having a message directly from the throne, preparing them prophetically for what's going on. There was nothing they heard in the church all these years of prosperity that could prepare them in a moment of uncertainty. There was no spiritual foundation established for them to overcome. You had even preachers hiding in their homes and refused to come outside. They viewed the outside through a curtain only. Was even afraid to go pray over the members of their church who they thought was sick with COVID. And I told people, this is a test run. Anyone can claim to be down with Christ and the Most High when there's no real life experiences to test your faith? Meaning, I told people, I said, listen, this is a test run. Folks, common sense would have told any of us, all of us, that this wasn't just something organic that just happened. It was too what? It was too organized from every front. Politicians lockstep. The news stations lockstep. Think about this, folks. All of the corporate jobs lockstep. All of the supermarkets, drugstores, everything was lockstep. That couldn't be some organic thing that just came out of nowhere and you got all the preparation in place day one. I say, oh, it's on. For believers, we understood what it was. So whoever trusts in the news, the political systems, the doctors in place who was in lockstep with them, the corporations, your corporate job, I'm not gonna stay too far on that. But let me give you a testimony real quick. Because everyone was scared. Everyone was scared. Guess what? I wasn't scared. Not for 1 second. Let me give you a testimony. A young man calls me up. If he see this, he'll know who he is. He's working in the military. He says, Elder, I'm going to lose everything. They're telling me if I don't do this by this time, then not only am I not going to lose, I'm going to lose all my time served in the back. I'm not going to have nothing coming out. They're threatening me with a dishonorable discharge. And I said, brother, follow the Most High. Stand bold. I said, stand bold. He was showing all the letters, the emails, and all this stuff he was getting. And I said, stand bold. He'll tell you. I said, now is the time for you to dig into who you are and what the Most High gifted you with. To be able to do things outside of this system, if need be. Now you find your true purpose with the works of your hands in this earth. Do you know they kept pushing the deadline from 1 month to 2 months to 3 months? And all the people around him were getting the stuff. And he started, and then he would come and we would talk sometimes. And he would say, Elder, you know they pushed it back. I'm like, we'll see. He said, they're really up on my head right now. They're really up on my head right now. I said, don't worry about it. He says, the guy over me, he's a brother too, pressing me. I said, don't worry about it. Folks, do you know that this brother came out with flying colors at the end of it? And the person that was pressing him, the person who was over him that was pressing him, was discharged honorably. The guy that was trying to get him to get it, who got it himself end up losing his position. And then Trump get in not too long ago and say, everybody that left the military based on this pressure, that they will pay the money, all the money they missed, and they can now join back if they would like to. See that? For those who stood on God's business. Now, that wasn't a test of faith for me, but it was definitely a key moment in that young man's life to know that if you stand with the Most High, he'll stand with you. A line in the sand throughout the earth happened at one time. And those who stood with the Most High were ridiculed and was called stupid, ridiculous, and evil from every person who we thought cared for us. And that lets you know, anytime Satan can flip that switch, the people you think care for you will turn on you at a drop of a dime. Those are those without faith. I'm just using that as an example, brothers and sisters. See, I know a lot of people say the military creeps them out and all these things, but y'all don't understand something, brothers and sisters. The children of Israel, our men, we're warriors. So the last thing I would do is look down or not understand. Now, the women in the military is another thing, unless they're doing some administration stuff. I would never agree with a woman joining the military because she can't pull her weight like a man. I would never suggest that. Okay? Not in a soldier capacity anyway. But let me tell you this. We're warriors. So I view military a lot different than most people. I'm not going to shame a brother or sister who goes to the military or went to the military to make her earn a career for themselves and to carve out a better life for themselves, because there's a lot of benefits in it. Right? But I would say, make sure you avoid any poisonings and all these others as a so-called, make sure you stay away from all that. Any poisonings, if y'all know what I'm talking about. Because a lot of people, they take a lot of that stuff and they'll come back with post-traumatic syndrome and all that, and not realizing these people weren't even in a war. So what is the post-traumatic syndrome of war when you weren't even in the war? It could have been some of the stuff that you were given as a requirement to be there. But that's a whole nother story. It's a whole nother story. Let me tell you about this, folks. Persinius Niger. Okay? A serious man. Septimius Severius and Persinius Niger. Two black men in the Roman army led a revolution that split Europe in half. And this is how we were able to rule Europe during what they quote the Dark Ages. So folks, we need people in the truth with military minds, because it's more, warfare is deeper than the physical. And that's a lesson in life for a lot of people. An education of how geopolitics work. And how to wage warfare even when there isn't war. That's what a lot of these soldiers learn. So I would never look down on military, because I understand what? I understand the courageousness and the courage it takes to be able to make it through. Some people don't even make it through boot camp. It takes a special man to be a soldier. And you don't want to go up against them when they're in their element. They were born to not just defend. They were born to win. And is taught to give up their life and sacrifice their life for the end goal. That sounds like Christ. See? Moses was known for what? Strategically organizing military in Egypt. He even used that when he left Egypt and became king over Ethiopia. Okay? So I would never look down on the military as far as those who serve in it, because I understand it takes a special mind to become a soldier. But the examples I can give you of faith is when it went down in every walk of life and through every occupation throughout society, essential and non-essential. Every individual had to make a choice. That was Satan drawing a line in the sand. And this gets right into the crux of my lesson today. The mark of the beast is here. Elder Lawyer, if you will. I said earlier, for those who missed it, please hit the like button, that Satan is drawing a line in the sand for those who would serve him, to reject those who are down with Christ. As our God drew a line in the sand when our people, the children of Israel, came out of Egypt. And that's right. We are the physical children of God. We are the children of Jacob. Undeniable. Undeniable. Elder Lawyer.
Yes, sir.
Let's go to that temptation of Christ in Matthew 4, if you will.
Yes, sir. St. Matthew chapter 4, verse number 1.
All right, let me grab it here so that everyone can see it. Let's read it.
Yes, sir. Matthew 4 and 1. Then was Yeshua led up of the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted of the devil. And when he had fasted 40 days and 40 nights, he was afterward and hungered.
Do me a favor, Lawyer. Move the mic a little closer to you, if you will.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's better. Go on.
All right, starting from verse 2. And when he had fasted 40 days and 40 nights, he was afterward and hungered. And when the tempter came to him, he said, If thou be the Son of God, command that these stones be made bread.
Now notice, in your weakest moments, like Christ was, here comes the devil. A hungered, right? He's hungry. So now he'll use the same tactics to pressure people into getting the mark of the beast. You want to go into the supermarkets? Well, do you have your vaccine card? He always He make his play in a time of weakness and uncertainty. Christ was hungry. Why don't you turn the stones into bread? Christ had the power to do that. He did. But he wasn't going to break his oath with the Almighty. There was a choice to be made. Satan plays the same game over and over and over again. In the wilderness, he started messing with our people in the wilderness, saying that Moses had brought us out here to die. And now everyone is turning on the elders, turning on Moses, when Moses did everything the Most High told him to do. Now Satan is playing with the people. Man, y'all going to starve out here. Your baby ain't eating days. And now the women are giving the men pressure. And the men are hollering at Moses like, what's going on here? And the Most High rains manna from heaven, angels' food. Every time we're in a position about food, about sustaining ourselves, here comes Satan. And understand, he'll use the same tactics against society, against us. We're showing you right here Satan's tactics. Fear, weakness is when he come in to have you choose a side. And when the tempter came, he said, if thou be the Son of God, command that these stones be made bread. Read.
Verse 4. But he answered and said, it is written, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceedeth out of the mouth of God.
Look at that.
Then the devil...
They would make you believe that you're living strictly through the carnal consumption of food, when it's the spirit. We live through the Spirit of God, brothers and sisters. That's the true source of life. Did y'all know this? Did y'all know that it's the Spirit that is the true source of life? Christ understood this. So did Satan. So he'll use the elements or what's in the earth under his control to make you believe that you can only sustain off of what he will allow you to receive, what he can provide or cut off at any time. He'll have you believe in your mind, if you don't, acquiesce to him, you'll die, because he has access or power over all the products in the earth. Five.
Yes, sir. Then the devil taketh him up into the holy city, and setteth him on a pinnacle of the temple, and saith unto him, if thou be the Son of God, cast thyself down, for it is written, he shall give his angels charge concerning thee, and in their hands they shall bear thee up, lest at any time thou dash thy foot against a stone.
So now he's trying to get Christ to tempt God. To tempt God. To become a daredevil. Like, nah, I don't deal like that. Now, did Christ have the power to a point where he could have jumped off of the mountain and the angels would have just moved them into another gate in another place of this earth? Yes, he had that power. But why utilize that power when there's no scenario or situation that would lead to him needing to do so? There's many times people came against Christ and he willed himself out of their presence. When you read the Bible, they looked up and he was gone. It was the angels moving him throughout in different parts of the earth out of danger. But why utilize that when there's no imminent threat? Right? There is no imminent threat. There's no reason for him to jump off of a mountain and all that, or will himself out of the presence of people, because there is no immediate threat. So if I'm healthy already and nothing is wrong with me, why should I tempt God and do something that could lead to my harm? See, you're tempting God. There's no immediate threat, and you will go out and listen to what they're saying and go do it. Now you're tempting God. Okay, there was no immediate threat on Christ. So why should he jump off a mountain and have the angels have to act and all that when there's no threat? Here are the same temptations that will lead to you or somebody in your family taking the mark of the beast, believing that there's danger when they're absolutely healthy with no issues. Satan is in their mind making them think something is going to happen to them, and now they go to their own demise, thinking in their mind that at the end of it, I have faith in God and he's going to take me through this. So I'm going to do this just to settle the fears in me. Well, Christ tell you that the fearful and unbelieving will have their place in the lake of fire. Let me tell you, Satan is a one-trick pony. So is his servants. They'll use the same tactics against you over and over again that we're reading right here with Christ. You can just tick them off. Every temptation that was given Christ is what was presented to those during the time of the pandemic. And many so-called believers failed. Read verse 7.
Yes, sir. Yeshua said unto him, it is written again, thou shalt not tempt the Lord thy God.
Why should I tempt God to come do something after I made a choice outside of faith? And you had many simpletons running around saying, well, listen, I got faith in God and I know that he's going to carry me through. You tempted God. You were fine. You walked, moseyed your behind down there and was absolutely healthy when you did so. And now many would have to deal with the ill or adverse effects of something they wouldn't have experienced if they didn't actually take their healthy behinds down there to do it. Christ says, listen, I'm not tempting the Almighty to do something that would force him to have to save me. That's ridiculous. And guess what? That's Christ. He could have just jumped off the mountain and the angels would have came and just, his foot wouldn't have touched the ground. He knew that. Listen to this. Read.
Again, the devil taketh him up into an exceeding high mountain and showed him all the kingdoms of the world and the glory of them.
And the glory of them. Folks, let me tell y'all, folks, Satan didn't just do this with Christ. Satan did this throughout time, from the beginning, and offered all the kings of this earth throughout all the generations of the earth what he's offering Christ since Cain. See? Because after Adam lost his dominion, the earth was given into the hand of the wicked. Satan would now have power in this earth for those who would serve him. Now notice I put what? I put a caveat there for those who would serve him. Okay? Satan would be the god of this world for those who would serve him. And again, the devil taketh him up in an exceeding high mountain and showeth him all the kingdoms of the world and the glory of them. That means all the empires, and promised them what? Dominion within these empires. Now check this out. How do you know, Elder Ricard, that he offered this to all of the prior kings? Well, folks, Christ gave us an insight when he says, as in the days of Noah, the coming of the Son of Man shall be, that they were marrying and given into marriage. And that popped out to me. When the sons of God came and dealt with the daughters of men, well, how would that play itself out in modern day prophecy? Well, if the devil promised them that they would have a place ruling or operating in their future, in his future kingdoms. Now, this may, matter of fact, let me show you something before I go back here. Elder Lawyer, would I ask you to get me early in the book of Jude, please?
Yes, sir. The book of Jude 1 and 9.
Jude 1, verse 9. Hold on. Jude 1, verse 9. Let's read it.
Yes, sir. Yet Michael the archangel, when contending with the devil, he disputed about the body of Moses.
He disputed about the body of Moses. Yeah. When Moses died, Mount Horeb, he gave up the ghost, and Satan came to get the body. Now, we all know that in Egypt, if you are a prince and or of royalty, you're mummified. You're mummified, and some are deified for a future use in the earth. When contending with the devil, why did Satan want Moses' body? I need y'all to think about this for a second. Read.
Yet Michael the archangel, when contending with the devil, he disputed about the body of Moses, durst not bring against him a railing accusation, but said, the Lord rebuke thee.
Saying, the Lord rebuke thee. Why would Satan want his body? Well, just like he went to Christ and said, all these kingdoms I'll give you if you bow down to me. Folks, this is what he offered to all the leaders of the earth who would help him build the tower and enslave God's people and destroy God's people. Side with me, and I'll give you a future on this earth with power. Now, we can go into the real reason why the majority of the pharaohs of Egypt were mummified. Why their remains were preserved. Listen to this. You can find this on PubMed. Molecular cloning of ancient Egypt mummies' DNA. Folks, there's only two sides. There's only two masters. Either you're down with the God, the creator, Ahia, the God of all gods, the God of the Hebrews, or you're down with Satan. And Satan said that he would be like God. But yes, yet he cannot use what? The spiritual aspects of the Almighty to execute anything on the earth. The example is, he knows since the beginning that there was a resurrection. How Christ came back from the dead. But yet he don't have the spiritual power to do this. But he does have the science to use what's in the earth for those who make oaths with him, to bring carnal life through their science. See? So this is what he would offer the elite, those in power, in exchange for them helping him sustain his kingdom on earth, a future existence. Molecular cloning of ancient Egypt mummy DNA. Artificial mummification was practiced in Egypt from approximately 2600 BC, folks. This was a time around that we talk about when it comes to when our people, was in that area, politically operating there. Until the 4th century AD. Because of the dry Egyptian climates, however, there are also many natural mummies preserved from earlier as well as later times. To elucidate whether this unique source of ancient human remains can be used for molecular genetic analysis, 23 mummies were investigated for DNA content. One 2,400 years old mummy of a child was found to contain DNA that can be molecularly cloned in a plasmid vector. I report here that one such clone contains 2 members of the Alu family of human repetitive DNA sequences, as detected by DNA hybridizations and nucleotide sequencing. These analyses show that sustainable pieces of mummy DNA can be cloned, and that DNA fragments seem to contain little or no modifications introduced post-mortem. So it wasn't just to preserve their bodies. Okay? Mummification, folks, was a part of the agreement of these Satanists to have an opportunity to live again. Satan said that he would be like God. So when you see these people in positions, your so-called politicians and others, no one asked the question, were they sourced, at least their remains, were they sourced from the past? The science is here. It's been here. So they weren't just mummifying people for the sake of doing so. It was with a promise. It was a promise from the God they served that they would be immortalized, and he would have the power in science one day to bring them back, mimicking the resurrection. So, like I said, Satan is a one-trick pony. He have done the same idea to set himself up a king since Cain, going all the way to the Tower of Babel, Nimrod, going up, all the way up, Nebuchadnezzar, going all the way up throughout the kings of the earth, the Caesars, through Caesar, Esau, he would be the last Nimrod who would perfect that science to unite all nations together and bring forth a mark of the beast. And these leaders would be responsible for bringing the whole world into one unified worship to Baal. So he offered this to Christ. Let's read it again, Elder Lawyer, that last piece, if you will.
Yes, sir. In Jude or Matthew?
In Matthew.
Yes,
Matthew
sir.
4. Yeah, I'm there.
All right. Yes, sir. Say Matthew chapter 4 and verse number 8.
4 and 8. Let's read it.
Again, the devil taketh him up into an exceeding high mountain and showeth him all the kingdoms of the world.
All the
and
kingdom
glory
of the
them.
world and the glory of them, folks. All the kingdoms, including future America. Including future America. And I'm going to tell you, folks, this is where the Babylonians, through science, this is where the Babylonians would have within their religions the act of reincarnation. It isn't that your spirit goes from one place to the next through time and the Most High keeps regenerating. No, it's the artificial way that we're mentioning here. Those who align themselves with Satan and once believed that their Satan could one day bring them back through their remains. That was the initial idea, because this is what was promised since before the flood. That he would be like God and do all of the acts and works that were written in the heavens, including the resurrection, having power to bring life into this earth continually through a cycle, or one person appearing again in the earth. That's their artificial, brothers and sisters, science. Science belongs to Satan. See? So he would perform artificially what the Most High could do through Christ spiritually. And all of the nations of Babylon, they worship Satan. And they believe that he would have the science to one day, their leaders, bring them back in the earth to, that's right, folks, to participate in the glory of Satan's kingdoms. How do you know this? This is what he promised Christ. He's like, man, I had Nimrod. I got the Caesars. Man, if he could get Christ to turn over for him, then the judgment concerning what happens to Satan at the very end becomes null and void. Satan gets to what? He gets to beat the prophecy of losing this world. See this? He says, I got many leaders that are down with me, but if I can get this guy to promise him everything, and you know, he would have made sure Christ was straight. To rule forever. Now, why am I putting this out there with the mark of the beast lesson? He know that after Christ died, he was crucified and was resurrected. He ascended to the Father and shed his blood on the heavenly tabernacle. At that point, the essence, the Holy Spirit that was in Christ could now spread throughout the earth, and it would lie and abode in God's people. So now it's just not one man to be offered. He would need to either get all of God's people down with his mark, with his kingdom, in order to continue his rule. Because the essence of Christ that he promised everything is in us. And if we don't capitulate, if we don't volunteer to switch sides, then we're no good to him. He will begin to pull back all the resources that we deemed was blessings. He will begin to pull back all the resources to have us make a choice. I'm going to cut this. I'm going to cut that. I'm going to cut this. No more housing, no more food, no more this, no more that. And I'm going into the spiritual side of this because everyone likes to talk about the end game when it comes to the mark of the beast, but don't understand the full narrative of why the mark of the beast, according to their Satanists, their Luciferians, must get introduced in the earth. It's what's in us. The Spirit of God. So if he can get all of those who belong to Christ to take the deal that Christ rejected, then he can do what? He can stave off the destruction. He can now rule forever. Because that spirit is in us. And he know that counting of 144,000 is the end game for him. So he'll begin to offer. See? And then if our people start waking up all over the earth to a degree where he cannot control, he'll just pull the plug on everything altogether on the next level like they did during the time of COVID. That was a satanic attack against God's people. That was a satanic agenda from the tippy top. And when I say the tippy top, starting from Satan himself. Fauci and all these other people you're seeing, they are just soldiers within the cult of Baal. They are just soldiers. Let's read it, Elder.
Yes, sir. Verse number 9.
Read 8 for me again,
And
if you don't mind, Elder.
Yes, sir. Verse 8. Again, the devil taketh him up into an exceeding high mountain, and showeth him all the kingdoms of the world, and the glory of them, and saith unto him, All these things will I give thee, if thou wilt fall down and worship me. Then saith Yeshua unto him, Get thee hence, Satan, for it is written, Thou shalt worship the Lord thy God, and him only shalt thou serve.
Look at that. I serve one God and one God only, Christ stated. You go offer this to your minions who will be judged with you. But I'm standing on faith. And the example Christ is showing is the same example that those in Christ must follow when propositioned. This is your true test on whether or not you're going to take the mark of the beast. That's right. You will be offered and tempted exactly like this. So think about it. So the first thing they'll do is, the fear he'll have in you is that you'll lose everything you worked for. Like, that's unfair. That I gotta lose everything I worked for me and my children, right? And this one choice that I would have to make is worth me sustaining what I've worked all my life for, right? That's the thought process. That's the thought process initially. Like, it's not like they're asking me to do so much but make one choice. And a lot of our people out there begin to think like this. Well, this is one choice, and I can at least hold on to what I've worked for all my life. And it sounds like a simple choice. It sounds like an easy choice. I know my God don't want me to lose everything I work for. I'm a good person. I don't hurt anybody. God is going to be down with me. You're tempting God. The fact that you're weighing the decision in of itself tells you something is wrong. And that's the Holy Spirit in your mind. And you will sit back and wait and say, well, and just conversate and talk with other people and get talked into it and saying, well, you go do it, or let's go do it together. That's how the mark of the beast is going to go down. Well, at least I know I'm not going down by myself. When you had that, what? When you had that in your mind, where you were hesitant or uncertain, that's the Holy Spirit. That's the Most High telling you, you better not do it. But you will let somebody else convince you to do it. So at least, if anything go negative, y'all go down together. And I'm going to tell you, folks, and it's a shame how selfish this earth have become. The people in this earth has become. You had people who took their parents to get this stuff and do these things, and know that their parents, who was elderly, were healthy and wasn't nothing wrong with them. Only to have that parent, after listening to someone who cared for them through fear, only to have that parent a few days later or a week later just die out of nowhere. See, we see it as, well, listen, I did what I thought was right during a time of uncertainty. That's how we're seeing it. Everybody was saying things that was pressure, and I did what I thought was right. That's how we see it. But how did Satan see it? How do he see it? Sacrifice. You sacrificed your mother. You sacrificed your father. You sacrificed your grandmother to Baal. Okay? So there is no in between here. Elder Lawyer, get that about the two masters real quick. There's no in between. There is no uncertainty here. You can't explain it off. Because when we stand before the Father is going to tell you. And when they tell you, when you stand before judgment, that a man or woman cannot utter a word. Which means you can't explain why you made the decision, because you're going to know. You're going to know. The Most High is going to tell you, you knew in your mind when that happened that you were hesitant, and I told you not to do it. You can explain to people to why you sacrifice your own family, but you cannot explain to God. And it's the same mindset that's going to lead to everyone portraying each other once the mark of the beast is finally rolled out. And out of COVID, the system was set. A whole new system was set. They set the mark of the beast set up, and they made it where they'll need very few people left in the workforce now that they've accomplished what they have to accomplish. Folks, they only have about, they only have about 9 more years to accomplish what they want to accomplish fully. So they up against a clock. So they moved. Let me tell you, they was getting rid of the people, and guess who they were replacing the people with? Let me show you. And get that immigration garbage off the table, because they're lying by labeling it migrants or immigration. What is this? Here is the original areas for the Tower of Babel. The original, here's Babylon. The Tower of Babel is right here. And here's all of the people who were around, the nations who were living around Shinar, where the Tower of Babel is. Babylon and Shinar right here. And this is your immigration, folks. They have negotiated with the children of the ancient Babylonians, who are now, don't forget, East Indians and all of this, folks. These are the people that are behind the technology we're using and are operating predominantly in the tech field. The same people we see here from the Tower of Babel are now surrounding us and our communities. The same exact families. Pushing the Tower of Babel on us and making it where there'll be no choice, because these people are straight Satanists, folks. They're going to make it where there's very little choice for us when it comes to the mark of the beast being rolled out. And these are the people who's going to be pushing it on us. Asians. East Indians. Because they were the ones at the Tower of Babel worshiping Satan. Seeking to do what? Help Satan open up portals and all of that. These are his scientists. This is why they'll sacrifice us and give all the jobs to them. Take it away from us, and when you get on a phone, you're speaking to one of them in these areas. These are the same Babylonians who hate our God and now are being used as agents to keep Satan's power on earth. And they're going to be the main ones pushing the mark of the beast. Folks, a lot of them are chipped already. A lot of them are chipped already. And they're coming in our neighborhoods, and they come into where we live, and they know what the plan is. They're going to come in our neighborhoods with that psychology, privately in these hospitals, as social workers, in these clinics, and all these others, and they're all going to be lockstep in convincing, let me tell you, they're going to press on the fears of our women. And it's wrong because they don't put pressure on other people like that. They're going to press on the fears of our women. And be like, listen, and listen, this is why, listen, I serve the Most High first. Women will have a natural fear. That's a part of their nature. So it's not wrong for women to have a certain level of fear. That's why they're women and we're men. So I'm not saying this negatively as if our women will normally voluntarily harm their own people. But it's the system playing on that weakness. The Bible says, give honor to the woman as the weaker vessel. She shouldn't be in position to make certain decisions when it comes to life or death. By nature, women are supposed to have protectors and decision makers. By nature. So they say, let's push the provider off the side and let's go straight and play on the fears of women. And it's to a point where a man knows that this happens, but he understands what? He put the threshold up concerning how much of that fear is going to affect his sound decision making. Because let me tell you, any man with any level of wisdom is not looking to I would say discourage some of women's decisions or some of their concerns they have through fear. You're not looking to stave that off or to stop her from actually expressing what her fears are. You want that. Because now you got somebody watching out in areas that you may have a blind spot in or don't even care about. So that fear in of itself for a man isn't a bad thing. Because you're able to filter what you should be concerned about and fix. And you're able to dismiss what she's saying that could do what? That could compromise your logical decision making. And then ease her with that concern and say, nah, you don't need to think like that. This is where you need to think on that. Or you will convince her or show her logically to why her fears really aren't of as deep concern as she might think it might be. But you're not to take on her fears. See? You give honor to her as the weaker vessel. You don't take on her fears. You screen her fears. Utilize what you need and ease her concerns in areas that really isn't of consequence. So now, when someone comes to try to offer something, right? Or try to bring fear, knowing that they'll be paid if the woman listens, they're up against you. See? Now, what happens when you have a system in place where they have successfully separated the man and woman, and now the women have become the key decision makers. That was systematic. Because now they can roll out the mark of the beast without resistance by doing what? Using fear tactics. Hence the reason, if you're in the hospital, you're sitting there with a healthy baby, and you have a family who's saying, listen, we deal with all natural, therefore no shots or nothing is allowed for this family, and you have the right to do that. My baby's healthy. I don't want that. Right? What'll happen? If they see a man in the room, they'll wait. When they see that the woman is convinced by the man and the man is the final decision maker, they'll wait. See? The woman is already disoriented, out of it, tired, weary, in pain. Hours of labor. And you'll wait till the man go downstairs, or the father, he have to go home and pick up something, and now, boom, lockstep, the nurses and everybody in the room is trying to get the child to get something. And just saying, and put nothing in her mind but fear in the absence of her husband. It's to a point where the man have to go to the nurse and doctor after speaking with them and saying no emphatically. It's to a point where the man have to go to the desk and say, listen here, I'm the decision maker here. My woman have gone through enough bringing forth this child. I don't want no mental anguish on her. Do not ask her any questions outside of my presence. Do not talk about what you just talked about ever with my wife. She done went through enough. And right now, she's in a position where she may, without having a clear mind, say something or agree to something that she wouldn't do in my presence. See? I wanted to go more so into the mindset of how they're going to deal with the mark of the beast, because they're going to roll it out. Who they're going to utilize, because it's here. Elder Lawyer, let's get that 2 Masters real quick. Chapter and verse.
Yes, sir. St. Matthew 6:24.
And you see, this is all Christ right here we going into. Let's read that.
Yes, sir. St. Matthew 6:24. No man can serve 2 masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will hold to the one and despise the other. Ye cannot serve God and mammon.
You cannot serve God and mammon. There's only 2 masters. So when they roll something out, you must ask a question as a believer. Is what they're rolling out, is it from God or the God of this world? Make it simple. There's only 2 masters. Satan plays in the gray areas also. Right? So usually, if you understand there's 2 masters, there's no excuse. What they're telling me to get or take, is this God telling me to take it? Or is it Satan? Because there's only 2. Now, the example that you would have if God is telling you to do this in your mind is you would show an example out of the Bible where the prophets, teachers, where Christ and the disciples made this decision, in the midst of crisis that relates to this. That's simple. So when they roll anything out or try to convince you to do anything, there's only two masters. So you would have to decide, based on this decision of the mark of the beast and what they're rolling out and what they're pressuring the world to do, is God telling me to do this? Or the God of this world? Hold on, let me silence this. And see, that's an easy decision there. That's an easy decision. There's only two masters. There's only two. Now, when we come back, we're now going to go into it outside of Christ, our personal walk. Right? When it comes to the mark of the beast. To show you that what? There's only a small path for those who's going to make it through this. What's coming? We'll be right back. Part 2 is coming up. The Bible. Is it hard to understand?
When it comes to reading the Bible, the first thing that comes to mind is the fact that this is the Word of God.
The seals have been broken, and the truth is here.
And when we go throughout the scriptures, when we go throughout extra biblical records, we find that the language that God employed, that He used to create the heavens and the earth, was the Hebrew language.
Christ said, I came for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. But yet no one, no religious leader, no religious church out there anywhere can now identify the 12 tribes of Israel. Can we? God is quite simple, but it seems as if man makes understanding Him hard.
What are those mysteries?
The truth of your book and the truth will make you free. The Hebrew and Bible Academy. You're invited. All right. Elder Lawyer will be right back. In the meantime, I want to let you all know that yes, we are in a new installment for the Hebrew and Bible Academy, which start next month. Okay, we have a brand new theme, and it's going to be absolutely outstanding. Absolutely outstanding. A brand new theme for the Hebrew and Bible Academy. Well, this particular week, we'll be going into the secret war between Edom and Israelites. Esau, the invisible man, we're going to show you all the wars he have waged against us since 70 AD up into our present time. You don't want to miss that lesson. For those who would like to become a part of the next Hebrew and Bible Academy, that's great. The topic or the theme will be, for the next academy. Let me get it here. Revelation, mysteries of the spiritual realm will be the theme for the next academy. We're going to go more so into the spiritual side of things and understanding Christ, the disciples, the world, and have brothers and sisters understand the power that we have, that the Most High have given us, that have been minimized and or We've been programmed into not utilizing our full spiritual strength that was given us through God. And we're going to go into more of that, a lot of that in the next academy. And I hope you become a part of it. And we thank you all for participating and supporting the church. Go to historytimes.org to enroll. Jumping right in now that Elder Lawyer is back. Okay, Elder Lawyer, if you will. Let's talk about the choices. And I know it's hard, but people have to understand that the kingdom is a straight gate and a narrow path. The majority of the people will make the choice Satan provides. At that time, it would be the more convenient choice to make. The offer will be so good, being that one only have to make one choice, that you would almost be deemed a fool not choosing that option. Who in their right mind, who's depending on the resources in this earth, is going to give all of that up? Everything they've worked for up until their time, for them and their children and everyone, who's going to give that up for one choice? For one choice they can easily make by going to your DMV, going to your doctor's office, or actually going into the supermarket to get your mark of the beast chip. Who's going to throw away all of their life just for that? Understand, folks, what they've done. They already set it up and made it convenient for you to get the mark of the beast, using the virus as the rollout and testing, beta test, so that you'll already know where to go when it's rolled out. And the majority of the people that we have come to trust listen to what the scientists said during that time and are no longer with us. Strangers now are in position to convince us to make the choice. The doctors we grew up with, who we trusted before the virus, are now dead. Okay? They've replaced those doctors. Replaced it with people from other countries who doesn't have a vested interest personally in us outside of making money. See, it's different when you live around people and you grew up around people. When you have an emotional and spiritual and historical connection with those people. See? But they got rid of all these people during the time of COVID. And now the strangers are in place for the next rollout. See? That's your immigration. It's really the Tower of Babel, or the children of Babel, financed to come in for the kill and to help Satan build that final tower into the heavens once and for all after getting rid of God's people. So there's going to be some tough decisions to be made. There will be some tough decisions. And guess what? These decisions, like it was before, could mean life or death. Okay? Elder Lawyer, let's go to real quick. 2nd Ezra 7 and 17. Let me grab it here. 2nd Ezra 7, verse 17. Right? Hold on.
Yes, sir.
Let me see. 7 and 7. Let's start at 7. 2nd Ezra 7, verse 7. That's what I need.
Yes, sir. 2nd Ezra 7 and verse number 7.
Yes.
And it says here, the entrance thereof is narrow, and is set in a dangerous place to fall, like as if there were a fire on the right hand, and on the left a deep water.
So it says the entrance is speaking of those who would make it into the kingdom of heaven, folks. It's narrow. I'm talking about the path we must walk to see the kingdom that was promised to Abraham. That's how narrow it is. It is set in a dangerous place to fall. That means only one foot can be in front of the other. It's so narrow. Right? Like this. Like as if there were, and then not only is the path so narrow, you'll be destroyed by fire if you go to this side, or drowned by water if you go to that side. That's how narrow the kingdom is for those who would make it. Read.
Verse 8. And one only path between them both, even between the fire and the water, so small that there could but one man go there at once.
And it's so small that only one man can go at once. Which means, guess what, folks? Even the people you love, it's not beside you on this path. They must be on the path too, with the trials and tribulations that comes with their life. So that means no one can carry another person into the kingdom. A conscious choice must be made by every individual. And this is why when I mentioned Elder Lawyer, when I answered during Patreon, I answered one of the letters that came in, one of the comments that came in through this phone chat right here, this phone text. And a brother asked, well, I got in a relationship before I understood the truth. And I'm afraid that I'm married to the wrong person because she's not following what he's following. And I made it clear. The scriptures talks about a man with an unbelieving wife.
That's right.
Christ talked about a man with an unbelieving wife. That's why he stated, remember who? Lot's wife. She always wanted the life of Babylon. She was all in it. She loved it and regretted when the angels had to move them out. She looked back and was turned to a pillar of salt. He didn't leave her because she wanted Babylon. Because he understood that the path is so narrow that only one person can walk it at a time. So the scriptures say, if she be pleased to dwell with you, hey, don't cut her off. What that means, what that means, if she be what? If she looking to dwell with you, be pleased to dwell with you. She's doing all of her duties as a wife, and she's not bringing no alternative beliefs and teaching that to your children. She don't have to believe everything you believe. As long as she do the duties you need to help meet what you're doing. And guess what? That's vice versa. If a woman have an unbelieving man. But it says, if they depart, let them depart. You're not under bondage in such cases. If they depart because you're serving your God, you are free to find a person who's going to be on your page. But it's not you driving them away. It's them choosing the darkness over the light path the Most High have given you. And if you're going to serve another God, that's spiritual fornication. That's spiritual fornication. And therefore, they want the world, they want a relationship with people that they can agree with. And now your conscience is clear once they walk away to get someone who the Most High will put on your page. But you by no means in your mind can think, I'm with the wrong person. Because it says your prayer covers her and everyone in the house. As long as she's not serving another God and convincing your children against you, guess what? Allow her to be. Because what you are dealing with, in essence, is a power struggle. That's what you're dealing with. That's why the Bible says two cannot walk together lest they be agreed. Be not unevenly yoked with unbelievers. Well, what is that analogy? Unevenly yoked. Well, guess what? Unevenly yoked. A yoke is something that's used to put on what? Cows or bulls to pull a plow. That's what the yokes were for. You put it on the bulls and it would pull the plow for farming. Now, suppose you got one bull who want to go this way and another bull or a cow that want to go that way. How much work can get done? How much plowing can get done when they're supposed to be on the same mission to plow together? That's a power struggle. That's why the Bible used the yoke as an analogy of you being unequally yoked with unbelievers. If she's going another way and you going another way, then the family cannot go forward. The family cannot go forward. So it's up to a man in the spirit of meekness to lay down the law. You don't have to believe what I believe right now, but you're going to be an helpmeet for me. I'm going to pray for you, and you are not to turn my kids against me, my children. They are to learn what I'm teaching. There is no power struggle. I'm in full power. This is not a partnership. I'm in power. Now you have a choice to make. I'm going to treat you right. I'm going to treat you as my God says I should nurture and care for you. If you don't want to hear the word, that's fine. But you will benefit from this path I'm on. You will be blessed indirectly, even if you don't believe what I believe. But you're going to follow me. You don't have to read the Bible if you don't want. That's fine. But if you do the duties of a wife who's taking care of her husband, according to the Bible, that's just as well. That's just as well. But if you work against me now, serving another God, want to go to church, and now you want to take my children to Sunday worship, now we got to come to a head. What would you like to do? Because we're not going to be serving two gods in one house. That's confusing our children. That's what we're not going to do. Our children will know that there's only one God exists, and that's the God their fathers serve. And at that point, you'll understand what that power struggle is. That power struggle is between a believer and an idolater who have always had power. So that's the answer to that. Let's go back.
Yes, sir. 2 Ezra 7 and verse number 9.
Let's read it.
If this city were now given unto a man for an inheritance, if he never shall pass the danger set before it, how shall he receive this inheritance?
If this city now were given unto a man for an inheritance, and the example I'm showing here, brothers and sisters, is the fact that what Satan promised Christ, which is temporal, that's promised to us by Christ, which is eternal. See? Like I mentioned earlier, Satan is a plagiarist. He's not an originator. The only thing he can do is copy what he's seen in the heavens that he knows that God in Christ does and will do, and try to offer that on a lower level. Okay? If this city now were given unto a man for an inheritance, and if he never shall pass the danger set before it, how shall he receive this inheritance? That means if there's a narrow path with danger on each side, trials and tribulations we must go through, then what makes one worthy to receive this kingdom? That means these people lived in the earth and made the tough choices and denied the God of this world by doing so. So that anything they received, they knew it came from the Almighty. They understood when it was a blessing by the Most High. See? 10.
And I said, It is so, Lord. Then said he unto me, Even so is Israel's portion.
Even so is Israel's portion. I'm not going to just give it to them like I did with them coming out of Egypt. They're going to have to choose me this time. This is Israel's portion. Israel, God's people, my people, are going to have to choose me this time. I did everything for them. They're going to have to choose me. This is your inheritance, but you're going to have to choose me. If you choose anything that Satan is offering you, including this mark of the beast, you're telling me this is the kingdom that you desire over the promised kingdom that Christ is bringing. The Most High is not just going to give us the land like he did before. We're going to have to choose him to get it. Read, Elder Lawyer.
11. Because for their sakes I made the world.
He says for Israel, for our sakes, he made this world for us to enjoy. For our sakes, he made this world. Read.
And when Adam transgressed my statutes, then was decreed that now is done.
He says, and when Adam made the wrong choice by transgressing, then was declared that now is done. The fall of God's people. See? But it came with what? A choice. Like we seen during the pandemic, like we will see again with the mark of the beast new currency systems. See? Read.
Yes, sir. Verse 12. Then were the entrances of this world made narrow, full of sorrow and travail. They are but few and evil, full of perils and very painful.
So when Adam sinned, he made the path towards the kingdom a maze. Well, now we have to go through all of this stuff: perils, evils, travails, death, murder, lying, dissension, betrayal. We got to navigate through all of this to find the path. Pain, sorrow, death. What Adam had was a path, a straight path from the garden into the heavenly realm. No deviation, no traps in the way, no nothing. He was connected to the heavens. And through that one choice, now there's a maze to find that path that was lost through Adam's sin. (13)
Yes, sir. For the entrances of the elder world were made wide and sure, and brought immortal fruit.
It says, for the entrance of the elder world, the old world with Adam, were wide and sure, and brought what? Immortal fruit. That means the tree of life that would make one immortal. There was no death. So if there's no death, obviously there was no fear. The fear of death is what put all men in subjections, and through that subjection of fear, Satan now brings a choice that would normally lead us off the path. For the entrances of the elder world were wide and sure, and brought immortal fruit. Read.
Yes, sir. 14. If then they that live labor not to enter these straight and vain things, they can never receive those that are laid up for them.
So now, for us, the children of Adam and Eve, we must labor. It says, and then they that live labor not to enter these straight and vain things. They can never receive those that are laid up for them. So unless we overcome the obstacles that are put here, guess what? We can never receive what's promised. See? So now we must go through the trials and tribulations of life, making the right choices in order to receive the kingdom that was promised to our forefathers. 15.
Yes, sir. Now therefore, why disquietest thou thyself, seeing that thou art but a corruptible man? And why art thou moved, whereas thou art but mortal? Why hast thou not considered in thy mind this thing that is to come, rather than that which is present? Then answered I and said, O Lord that bearest rule, thou hast ordained in thy law that the righteous should inherit these things, but that the ungodly should perish.
Read that again. Thou hast what?
Thou hast ordained in thy law that the righteous should inherit these things.
That the righteous should inherit these things. Those who follow the laws given to Moses is on the straight path. The law was given so that we can overcome the sins that came with Adam. So at least we're mindful of the pitfalls, the maze we were thrust into, to make the right choice when Satan is offering alternative choices. See? So the law is that path that brings us or leads us into the kingdom. That narrow road that only one man can make it at a time is the law of God. But what? But the ungodly.
But the ungodly should perish.
But the ungodly shall perish. Those who are against God's law will die. They'll make the wrong choice every time in the midst of crisis. And a lot of people are saying, well, listen, how do I get my family to understand this? They're always pushing back on me on that. The path is so narrow that only one person can walk this path. You have to make sure that you're going to make it.
That's right.
And the second piece is, the Bible says, after the second admonition, shake off the dust of your feet. Which means you only got 2 times in earnest to try to convince someone of something. And after that, you shake off the dust. You treat them on the level that you're on without ruffling feathers. You don't have to talk to them about this. Because if you cast your pearls before swine, you will be rent under feet. They're going to take what you're saying and one day use it against you to destroy you. And why you think Christ, when he would drop knowledge that he only knew those who was connected to the Father could understand, Christ would say, he that have an ear, let him hear. He didn't care if the other people didn't understand it. Because where their life was, they didn't want to hear it anyway. Christ could care less whether or not, if you choose not to receive the kingdom of heaven, there's no skin off of Christ's back. He that have an ear, let him hear. We have to get out of this thing that if it's so simple to hear and understand, that other people would just hear it like you did and fall in line. It's not that way, folks. You have people who don't want to hear. You have people out there that will become your enemy if you tell them the truth. And these are the people that, even during the time of that virus, was the soldiers being used by Satan to kill off their own people. Elder Lloyd, let's go to Luke 12:37.
St. Luke 12:37.
Yes.
Blessed are those servants whom the Lord, when he cometh, shall find watching. Verily I say unto you, that he shall gird himself and make them sit down to meat, and will come forth and serve them. And if he shall come in the second watch, or come in the third watch, and find them so, blessed are those servants.
Blessed are those servants. Blessed are the servants when Christ come back. He find them watching. These were they who were looking at the prophecies and were operating accordingly. Were operating accordingly. And he says, if they come, what? And it shall
It
come in
says,
the second
and
watch.
if he shall come in the second watch, or come in the third watch, and find them so, blessed are those servants.
Blessed are those servants, because when you look at the second and third watch, folks, that's when most people are sleeping. These are they who's burning the midnight oil. Right? And they're still wide awake. It's like someone working in shifts, watching for the enemy from a wall. Well, the third and fourth watch, that was the hardest watch. And guess what? While everybody was sleeping, they was on guard. 39.
And this know, that if the goodman of the house had known what hour the thief would come, he would have watched, and not have suffered his house to be broken through. Be ye therefore ready also, for the Son of Man cometh at an hour when ye think not.
He cometh in an hour when you think not. And when it says right here, and this know that the good man of the house that have known the hour that the thief would come, he would have watched and not have suffered his house to be broken through. See? The enemy to come in and steal, kill, and destroy. Read on.
Yes, sir. Verse number 40. Be ye therefore ready also, for the Son of Man cometh at an hour when ye think not.
When he says an hour, you think not, because he's going to cut the time Satan has short. See? So he's coming earlier than the time span he would give them to rule. And this is why they've sped everything up through technology and AI. Let me make it clear. And you heard it here first. What's today's date? July 26th, 2025. So-called 2025. We're not even in the year 1800 yet, according to the correct time that was given from the beginning, folks. But just for the sake of this lesson today, I'm speaking July 26, 2025. The immediate world that we've been thrust into after COVID, the AI world. What is it? What can we expect according to the labor force going forward? If anyone is dealing with administrative jobs, when you sit down, go into the office, shuffle papers, and deal with any level of administration, done. There'll be no need for administrators. There'll be no need for accountants. There'll be no need, and I'm going to tell you this, and I'm putting this out to you right now. There'll be no need for retail workers at all. Everything will be computer to warehouse. There will be no need for it. Okay? Outside of a manager who manages that particular store. Everything will be manned by security, military, cameras, surveillance. When it comes to shopping outside of the internet sphere. And women will be more so ill affected by the new model. Now, just on a smaller political standpoint, a social economic standpoint, Esau is forcing his women out of the what you would call the corporate structure. He's forcing his women out of it because their birth rates are low. He's not playing games with this, what he used to use politically against us anymore, feminism. He has no need for it because he's in a race to populate. So he's moving his women back into their original roles, even if it's by what? By starving them out, by taking the jobs away. Period. He said, y'all had enough fun. That's it. The party's over. You're going to come back home and you're going to have my children. That's the model Esau have put in place. Period. For self-preservation, this is what they're doing it on the lowest level for. They gave what? They gave the white women a whole minority group, even though they had a hand in enslaving us too. And they made them a minority. And they only gave her the inside track through civil rights to stifle the benefits that would come through us who were suffering. The white woman back then was saying, you're not going to allow the black man to be above me in the corporate world. Okay? So you're going to have to make us a separate group or something and give me some position because I'm not going to be ran around by black men. And at that time, black women weren't in the sphere at all when it comes to the corporate world. Black women were on a service level just like black men. We were brought here under the curse to serve together. So I'm just telling y'all geoeconomically where we are and why they're cutting out all of these jobs that once were convenient, high-paying jobs for women. He's cutting off his women due to the low birth rates. And AI will be running everything. So it's like, I don't need you to do anything else but have my children. Now, who gets caught up in the wash of all this? All the women who was seeking guidance to live the lifestyle of that white woman. So they don't have to attack any other demographic. Esau is coming down on his own women and are pulling them out of the work class so that they can have their children. Their birth rates have dwindled since they have pushed the eugenics program. And by default, they have cut off their own population. So for the sake of self-preservation, AI is going to do all the jobs that women used to do. And he's starting with his woman. So what does that mean for everyone else? Well, now that he don't need the people anymore, the majority of the people will have what? They will have a place to do service for what's needed by those in power. There will not be any freebies going forward. Everything will be through earned. If you are getting housing, if you are getting food, it's already in law where you're going to have to work to get any subsidies from the government. They've already put that in place. And as they tighten the belt, they're going to make those requirements even worse. to get menial livings, to just have a menial living to survive going forward. And why am I putting this out there? It's not to scare anyone. It's the reality. If you know ahead of time, then you'll put preparation in place. We're not going back to the Thrive in America where everyone had an opportunity to live the lifestyles of the rich and famous. Those days are done. And only the first time we heard essential workers was when they rolled that out. We didn't know such a demographic in the workforce, the labor force, existed. What's an essential worker? Well, an essential worker are those that are needed to keep the infrastructure of a society going. And I think they told on themselves when they kept the strip clubs open. Right? Because they still need what? They still need that lane towards perversions and sin in the earth. You cut people off and don't give them access to do what's wrong, and they might start leaning towards God. They might start coming together and realizing there's more of us than they are, than them. Essential workers are those who keep the infrastructure of the society going. And these are the people that they brought in to be the laborers, knowing that America and the world is never going back to the thriving empire it once was. In order to roll this out and have it come to an apex, they must execute a currency system in place that only a few can benefit from Satan's world. The mark of the beast. They're downsizing. If you've been in a corporate setting and understand how corporate works, you can see from a global scale what they're doing. They're downsizing everything under a corporate model. And now they need less laborers. And once they put the stress on all of society, they're going to roll out the mark of the beast. Trump already signed it into law, the digital currency, where now your credits will be controlled based on compliance. And then they're going to have the mark of the beast where here's the mark. Either you get this. We're not going to force you to get it. Either you get this, or you're going to struggle with how to pay your mortgage, your rent, your taxes, or even if you want to get an Uber Eat. Even if you want to get some food, you're not going to have access to it because we're on a spending system, a new currency, where your old currency doesn't exist. We're not going to take your coins anymore. We're not going to take your dollar bills. You must take that into a center that we choose for you. And you'll get that amount back in credits. And if you don't comply, you'll just be out in the streets. We're not going to force you to do it. That's where it's going, folks. That's where it's going. You heard it. July 26, 2025. I just told you. Let me show this real quick, Elder.
Yes, sir.
This is what was walking down the street only a few months ago. Only a few months ago, this is what was walking down the streets.
Well, turning now to a strange sight on the streets of Austin. Maybe you spotted this today on social media or in person. A robot wearing a cowboy hat walking alone on South Congress. We reached out to APD and the city to see if they knew anything about this, but it's still unclear tonight who the robot belongs to and why it was out. Well, turning now to a strange sight on the streets of Austin. Maybe you spotted this today on social media or in person. A robot wearing a cowboy hat walking alone on South Congress. We reached out to APD and the city to see if they knew anything about this, but it's still unclear tonight who the robot belongs to and why it was out there walking all by itself. If any of you at home know, let us know. Give us a call or just email us at news@kvu.com.
Now, see, to let you know the news is a bunch of garbage. You can see the angles of this particular thing that's happening here. Right? There's an angle there. There's different angles. Let me look at it. Let me show you. Look at it.
Well, turning now to a strange sight on the streets of Austin. Maybe you spotted.
Look at these angles, folks. Talking about a strange. This isn't being shot. Now, what they did, they put a filter on this to make you believe that someone was taking this from their actual phone, their camera phone. So that's why they have it shaped like a cell phone, folks. This is a prop. They had it set up with the news to record this. And they put it in an optics to make us believe that this was organically shot by an outside viewer who eventually called the news station. When it's them broadcasting to the world the new surveillance system that's going to replace a lot of police on the ground. This is what I know for sure, folks. When everybody was on lockdown and all that, you know how police was actually surveilling the areas that they would normally have cars drive by? They were using what? They were using street light cameras as well as drones to police the areas that cops normally drive through to keep in check. The majority of their work was a few police at the job using the computers and the surveillance systems. This is going to be your new beat cops. These are going to be your cops on the beat, folks. Remember when they used to do two police in a car? And then they broke it down where only one police be in a car to save money? It used to be, folks, you can have one cop by itself. You had to have a partner. And they cut the cost by saying, well, we're going to have the same cars, but one man less in a car, saving money for the city. Now, they can save money for the city when it comes to paying citizens, but they can pay billions of dollars in what? To go to Israel, Ukraine, and so-called migrants or illegal immigrants. So this is a war they're financing against our people. This is going to be your new cops on the beat, folks.
Well, turning now to a strange sight on the streets of Austin. Maybe you spotted this today on social media or in person. A robot wearing a cowboy hat walking alone on South Congress. We reached out to APD and the city to see if they knew anything about this, but it's still unclear tonight who the robot belongs to and why it was out there walking all by itself. If any of you at home know, let us know. Give us a call or just email us at news@kvu.com.
It's going to get deep, folks. It is going to get deep. It is going, man, it's about to ramp up. We're literally living in the Matrix. They just have to have one more component in place. And that's the mark of the beast. The mark of the beast. Elder Lawyer, I need you to read the rest of Luke real quick.
Yes, sir. St. Luke 7:41.
Right.
Then Peter said unto him.
Let me grab it. Where are you? I'm sorry.
Salakia, St. Luke 12:41.
Yeah.
Then Peter said unto him, Lord, speakest thou this parable unto us, or even to all? And the Lord said, Who then is that faithful and wise steward, whom his Lord shall make ruler over his household, to give him their portion of meat in due season?
So Peter asked Christ, Yeshua, are you speaking to us in a parable, or do you want everyone to understand what you're saying? Is this for everyone? Is what Peter's asking. Then Christ answered him, Who then is that faithful and wise servant, whom his Lord shall make ruler over his household, to give them their portion of meat in due season? Now you notice it says, Who is that faithful and wise steward, and his Lord shall make him ruler over his household. Now I'm emphasizing making Lord over his household. How can now the Most High make a man Lord over his household towards the kingdom and have a place in the kingdom when he's not the decision maker and Lord over his own house? So this is not a man that's being led by a woman. You can't rule a place in the kingdom of heaven and not be the ruler of your own house. Okay? So it comes time when men have to step up and take their power, and women have to acquiesce to the man and relegate the power Satan given to her to rule over him. Especially in a world of downsizing right now. What's going to be more important than anything is what? What's essential. Now that they're going to cut all the jobs from the women, women are going to need providers and protectors. They're going to need providers and protectors. Straight out. And that's going to be, they talk about this high value thing. That's the high value man.
Mm-hmm.
That's the high value man. It ain't going to be about what is your tax bracket or what is your, whether or not you make six figures. Because if you don't take the mark of the beast, you're going to be on the outside of the economy anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So what is this man that can guide you into the kingdom who's not measured by the economics that's been set up according to this world? Women are going to be forced economically to be under a man, or they're going to die in this world. And this world is unforgiving. The corporate world is doing away with women, and it's starting with the white woman. See? That's where we're going, folks. So when it says to give them their portion and meat in due season, the blessing of the sacrifice, we get our reward on the other side of this. And when everything breaks down and the mark of the beast is denied, then the true people of God comes to the surface, who are prepared in due season, who know what to do in the event of them rolling out a system that seeks to actually bar the righteous out of society. Now, there's a way to make it through this. But it's going to take a lot of what? A lot of the men and women being resourceful, using what's in them. Being resourceful and using the Spirit of God in them to maneuver. And that's why the Most High says, in that day, a man shall be like pure gold. Number one, they're going to be rare based on the war that's coming. But another thing, what makes a man precious is that what? There's more women than men. And what's more rare becomes more precious. And you're not going to be able to survive what's coming without a man, especially with the Babylonian strangers seeking to ravish and to destroy our women. (43)
Yes, sir. Blessed is that servant whom the Lord, when he cometh, shall find so doing. Of a truth I say unto you, that he will make him ruler over all that he hath. But and if that servant say in his heart, my Lord delayeth his coming, and shall begin to beat the men servants and maidservants, and to eat and drink and be drunken.
So now you have people who would claim, well, Christ isn't coming back, or decide, well, Christ already came back. Or they may claim, well, I've sacrificed and did what I needed to do in the past, but now who knows when Christ is coming back? And then they began to harm God's people, believing that there won't be a judgment. Right? The world began to fall into unbelief. And now, because of unbelief, they're operating as if a judgment isn't coming. Read, the Lord.
The Lord of that servant will come in a day when he looketh not for him, and at an hour when he is not aware.
It's speaking of believers here. Read.
And will cut him in sunder, and will appoint him his portion with the unbelievers.
It would have been better off if that person just stayed as an unbeliever. It would have been better off. And that servant?
47. And that servant which knew his Lord's will, and prepared not himself, neither did according to his will, shall be beaten with many stripes.
Shall be beaten with many stripes. The judgment. Wailing and gnashing of teeth. Elder Lawyer, let's now go to Sirach, Ecclesiastes 32. Ecclesiastes 32. And let's start at about 14.
Yes, sir. Sirach 32 and 14.
Speaking of that path, read.
Whoso fear the Lord will receive his discipline, and they that seek him early shall find favor.
Whoso feareth the Most High will receive his what? Discipline. That means we look at all the areas in our lives going backward and realize the Most High grace that came with chastisement. that some of the judgment that could have been put on us that led to death, that would have been death, the Most High saved us from. And we appreciate our God for doing what? For giving us grace and helping us through those experiences without destroying us. Folks, one thing about death that's certain is that to one degree, according to this life, death is permanent. Death is permanent, which means once you die, there's no more shots on this earth. Okay? To undo any actions that we've lived on earth. There's no redoing it. So this cycle, I would say, because there is the resurrection, but through this course of life is only one time. And that's why the Most High, through Christ, long suffering and have given us opportunity when most people in the Old Testament, according to the law, would have been killed for a lot of what we got away with. And we also went through hard times. We went through hard times, which was God's discipline, so that we can reflect on the things we did that led to our downfall. Every time there's a downfall, that's an opportunity for us to what? Reflect back to what we did that led to the fall. That's us what? Recognizing that God disciplined us because he loved us. Instead of killing us, he brought us low. With another opportunity in this life to right the ship and get on that path. That's mercy. That's grace. Whoso feareth the Lord will receive his discipline. That means when something happens to you, we're not blaming anyone else for what happened to us. We're recognizing God disciplined me, and now I can go back to exactly what led me here. So to not do it in the future. If we, at the point of discipline, brothers and sisters, try to blame someone else for why we're at rock bottom, that individual didn't get the lesson. Usually if you have a conscience and something goes wrong, we're able to reflect back, and usually the Most High have it flash in our mind almost immediately. I'm dealing with this based on what I did there. And now I must handle the discipline. I know why I'm here. I know why things didn't go right for me in this instance. I'm being disciplined for something. I know what I did. And usually when instead of blaming, we take the chastisement, we're recognizing that the God we know and that we pray to is real. We are acknowledging that. Right? We are acknowledging that he has intervened. So to make us better people, to put us back on that path. Whoso feareth the Lord will receive his discipline, and they that seek him early shall find favor. Read.
Yes, sir. 15. He that seeketh the law shall be filled therewith, but the hypocrite will be offended thereat.
But the hypocrite will be offended thereat. Read.
16. They that fear the Lord shall find judgment, and shall kindle justice as a light. A sinful man will not be reproved, but findeth an excuse according to his will.
A sinful man will not be corrected, but find an excuse according to his will. Instead of accepting correction, they'll come to you and try to explain why they're justified in their actions. See? They'll try to come, well, I'm doing this because this happened. Well, find an excuse instead of owning up to their own behaviors. It's always someone else's fault. A sinful man cannot be corrected, because when you try to correct them, they findeth an excuse according to his will. They'll let you know, well, I'm doing this because this is what you did. So is that what you're going to tell the Most High, that you sinned and did what's wrong because someone did something to you? Wrong is wrong. You can own up to your own wrong without passing it off to someone else. Or are you perfect? A sinful man will always make an excuse of why they're doing wrong. They'll always try to blame someone else. Oh, I wasn't raised a certain type of way. Or this is how I was brought up. Or, I was violated. My parents weren't around. So we must endure the negative that came with you, that you know is negative because something happened to you. Or should you forgive and overcome what happened to you so that you can act normally and righteously amongst other people? But a man or person that want to be wrong, they'll always come up with an excuse. Read.
18.
Now, just that last part.
Yes, sir. Verse 17. A sinful man will not be reproved, but findeth an excuse according to his will.
According to his will. And why am I going here? Especially speaking of the mark of the beast. They'll push this stuff from Satan, folks. They'll push it. And then they'll come later and say, well, listen, I did it because of that. You can't blame me, because everybody was uncertain what was going on. I was about to lose my job. So they're not even taking the correction. They can't even be corrected. They'll come up with an excuse of why they chose Satan. It doesn't matter that the choice you made, it led to someone in your family dying early. It doesn't matter. This person can't be corrected. They'll always come up with an excuse of why they made a decision to follow Satan. And that's what we're going to be up against, folks. They're going to be fervent, serious, as if they have, I know the science. When it's all going down, they're going to be advocates. They're going to be on the front line. They're going to be experts in explaining why everyone should do it. But guess what? When the fallout comes from it, when they see that the choices they made was wrong, they're going to be totally silent. You're going to be able to hear a church mouse pee on cotton. They're going to be totally silent. Like when the chips fall and they see how wicked and evil it was, they're going to act as if they were against it the whole time. They're going to act as if they had nothing to do with it. And how do you know this? You got a lot of people who took the stuff and will lie in your face and tell you they didn't take it. I'm going to tell you, folks, it's going to go down the same way. Because what it tell you, that a sinful man cannot be corrected. And they already have an excuse. Man, my job was putting pressure on me. What job? You're laid off. You don't even work there anymore. Hey, folks, listen. It's not denial. It's not denial. It's intentional. It's intentional, folks. Well, my job said if I didn't do it. Where do you work at? I seen even Uber drivers. And I need y'all to think about this, folks. Uber is in actuality you not even going into the corporate world, working for yourself. Now, I'm sure that there were some things in place that the corporate structure who controls Uber was making it so that you can't drive because you might be a threat to your, as they claim, which is ridiculous. How can you be a threat to people who's driving in your Uber if you don't have anything? But you even had Uber drivers treating people like they had the plague. He's sitting up in a car with his windows rolled up with a mask on by himself. You gets in his car and he's like, man, listen, you got to put your mask on, man. You got to get your mask on. These are going to be the same people, folks, with the mark of the beast. They will not be reproved. They will not be corrected. Let me show y'all something real quick. I want to show y'all something. I don't even know if I can show this. I don't know if I can show this. But what I can do, we have to preserve this channel. But let me see how I can get around this. Okay, this is how I can do it. Yeah, I can do it this way. Let me show y'all. Albert Pike in the late 1800s said that they're going to politically create 3 separate wars. The second war will lead to these Edomites we see today gaining Palestine as a state. And through them, they're going to be over there to create the last world war. Okay, that's what they're there for. And through that, they're going to break down all of the religions of the earth. They did that through the media, programming children into the satanic, the satanic programming, initiating people into the cult of Baal because they're really Satanists. And at the end of it, after they've broken all traditions and or religions, then Albert Pike says the world will be ready to accept the true enlightened God. Lucifer will be rolled out to be widely accepted by the world. Folks, someone went into an area of the UK and there's one in California, right? Where now they got Lucifer donuts. You go into the supermarket, you see Lucifer hot sauce. Right? Lucifer Pizza is a place. Then they had Lucifer Donuts across from there in California. And then when you go into Lucifer Donuts, and whoever's going to go into that stupid place need to close down, you can get a donut in the shape of a voodoo doll. The Satanists have come to the forefront, but they needed what went down during the pandemic. I can break it down this way because this is a known publication. ACS Publications, most trusted, most cited, most read. It's reputable. And this was from August 9, 2021. Lucifer race-based biosensors in the era of COVID pandemic. Well, folks, what's Lucifer race? What is that? Well, let me open up the PDF. Could they be bioengineering Lucifer's race? Could they be bioengineering Lucifer's race like it was before the flood? Well, here's a white paper. Lucifer race-based biosensors have a wide range of applications in assays formats, including their relatively recent use in the study of viruses. Split Lucifer race. Bioluminescence resonates energy transfer. Energy transfer, folks. Circularly permuted luciferase, cycloluciferase, and dual luciferase systems has all been used to interrogate the structure and function of prominent viruses infecting humans, animals, and plants. The utility of this assay is demonstrated, by numerous studies which have not only successfully characterized interactions between viral and host cell proteins, but that have also used 3 systems to identify inhibitors. In the present C-19 pandemic, luciferase-based biosensors are already playing a critical role in the study of the culprit virus SARS-CoV-2. Now, what is this? I need y'all to see this, folks. Is this a changing of people's genetics who decided to listen? are patterns. This is a question. I'm just asking questions. Is this bioscience, pre-flood science, Nephilim science, changing the genetic makeup of what a man and woman truly is, so that that person can actually, their bodies can accept the next science that's coming through the mark of the beast? Could it be that this is the next stage of their satanic evolution that allow bodies to accept what it would normally reject? Satan's sensors injected into people. That's just a question I have. Lucifer race. And it's showing what? It's showing the biosensors sensors under the spike protein that replicates cells, that goes into the system and operates independently outside of the system God made for us. The only thing they need to do now through this nanoscience is make it where there's what? A currency system set up where no one can buy or sell unless they accept the new what? The new currency. And the new currency will be inside the body. Transhumanism. And now Satan rules in the mind of men instead of God communicating with us for those who make the choice. That was a safe way of dealing with that, using their publications. Right? Let me go here. So, Elder Lawyer, 1 second here. A few things I want to get. Now let's get. Now, when you hear Lucifer race, well, where does that come from? Folks, let's now get Isaiah 14. Lucifer race. Now, this is why we're experiencing, I believe, an uptick on mental illness and uncharted, unexplained aggressions of criminality and our people crashing out all over the earth. No one is putting two and two together. People are actually changing and are being inseminated into Lucifer's race. Let's get Isaiah 14. Now, these are white papers. These are public papers that concerning all of this, folks. The changing of genetics. And it was slick how they did this, how they were able to do certain things under the contraceptive things with women. Because they didn't tell women that, okay, if you take these contraceptives here, which is also in the book of Jasher, that the women was given a potion so not to have their period to keep their shape. Folks, that's pre-flood Nephilim technology in the medical field. But what happens is it causes other sicknesses down the line that cuts down the woman's life expectancy. So you're stopping children from coming into the earth, but you're cutting off your lifespan with all these other issues. Why? Think about it. If you start having a baby, your body start changing to produce for the child. So what happens if a baby's in you and now you started producing milk? But then you get the child ripped out of you. What happens to that milk? See that? Eventually, it causes cancer. Because what was meant for life for the child will now mean death for the woman. And no one is putting two and two together, the true origin of breast cancer. Need y'all to think about this for a second. So then, their bodies are already morphed, and then they've done it to a degree where the body doesn't produce eggs anymore because the medicine have programmed the brain to believe that children can no longer come through this woman's womb. The drugs have programmed the brain to believe that it cannot have children. And when she tried to have children later, after all of this stuff they've been taking, she miscarries. Based on the abuse of the body that came through the stuff she was taking. So now she cannot have children, and she knows she can't have children like that, ain't producing eggs. The time went by when she could have had children, and she get in her 40s and she says, I'm going to get IVF. You'll go get some sperm from a laboratory. And you will bring forth a child of what genetics? Are you sure you know what you're bringing forth? As in the days of Noah, shall the coming of the Son of Man be, when they were married and given into marriage. And it says there were giants in the earth in those days, monsters, Nephilim, Lucifer's race. So they have experimented on the minds of women to allow them to use their bodies as a human experiment to a degree where they cannot bring forth God's children. But when they get 40, they'll bring forth Satan's. Lucifer race. Let's read it, Elder Oloya.
Yes, sir.
The 12th verse. Lucifer race. What does it mean, the science Lucifer race? Let's read it.
Yes, sir. The book of Isaiah 14 and 12. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations?
How were you cut down to the ground, which did weaken the nations? And when you look at that Lucifer, how art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer? Halal. Halal. Same way when you go to those Arab places, you get halal meat. That's right. Those imams over Islam are nothing different than Ashtoreth and Baal temples. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer? Read it.
Son of the morning.
Son of the morning. He was a morning star before he was thrown from this earth. Into this earth. Into the deep. He's the God who offered Christ everything to maintain power on earth. How art thou cut down to the ground, which did what?
Which didst weaken the nations.
Now, what has weakened the nations, folks? On the level we're talking about right now. Their science. He'll destroy the natural beauty of what the Most High created in order to bring forth evil creatures. But because he cannot create, he must turn us away from our God and use our bodies as an experiment on earth to bring forth satanic children. And that's the world we live in right now that must get destroyed. Because too many people have agreed with Satan's science and will agree when they roll out the mark of the beast. These will be Satan's enemies. Satan's soldiers, but yet enemies of God, destroying the righteous on the earth. Like you seen that robot walking down the street? Well, imagine those who get the mark of the beast, where they become the robots. Where they'll work in the stores because they're programmed and not ask for raises because they're not programmed to. And that when there's a righteous around, someone that deals with the Most High in Christ, that something comes in their mind, kill that person now. Where the agents are speaking through normal people, and now it breaks out where they'll kill and try to destroy you, and everyone would think that it's just a regular conflict, not realizing this person is being controlled to do Satan's will against the righteous on earth. That's what we're going to be up against, folks. Not just the robots. Willing servants who now have no will or ambition on their own and are being controlled through the science. We're dropping a lot on y'all today, folks, but remember this lesson when it all goes down. And it's happening to some degree under certain experiments right now. You got people who are, these stories, these unexplained stories, where someone on a subway or something will get up and do something to some people out of nowhere, and no one can explain whether or not that was one of their experiments. They've weakened the nations by separating them from God and have our people trust in science instead of the Almighty. The scientists are Satanists. (13)
Yes, sir. For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God.
That's his plan. Read.
I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north.
I will sit upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. Now suppose what was in Adam, brothers and sisters, that's connected to the Almighty, is what he needs to do what he's doing. The essence in us, if we go with their science, he can now utilize us as what? The spirit in us, the people, as a conduit to operate outside of this realm, using people that's now under his control. We're going to be talking about that in another lesson altogether. Folks, this is well beyond anything you can imagine Satan's plan to get off this plane. He needs the people. He needs the people to agree. And guess what? He's going to offer everything. He's going to make an offer that's going to be hard to refuse. He's going to make an offer. I need you to think about this. Hey, don't worry about nothing. You get this. I'll tell you what. We'll clear all your debt. debt forgiveness across the board. That means it doesn't matter what you owe. We're going to start with zero on everything. We're going to pay off everything for you right now and give you a clean slate, and we're going to give you a high score. We're going to give you a high credit score where you can operate in this earth any way you would like, but get this first. You have access to planes, to travel, you'll have access to be able to go into supermarkets and don't have to worry about bringing your wallet. You can drive anywhere you want. Everything. Okay? You can go through Easy Pass, and guess what? You don't need no transponders anymore. You don't need no transponders. You don't have to worry about anything when it comes to your license plates, getting things checked up, and getting registration every year to make sure those inconveniences, because once you have the chip in you, everything you own will come up right there. Those long lines at the DMV, you don't have to worry about anymore. You don't have to worry about going to the doctor's office anymore, because now your doctor can go to Zoom and they can pull up everything based on your biometrics through the chip, sending us your biometrics, and we'll tell you exactly what's wrong right there. And if we can fix it right here like this, we'll fix it like this, or we'll tell you where to go to pick up the antidote to fix your issue. Okay? For your children, you don't got to worry about saving for college anymore. If you get them chipped, they get a free board to college. You have to worry about their schooling. Folks, don't forget, he went to Christ. He said, listen, I'm rolling out the proverbial red carpet for you. And everything he offered Christ is what he knows. Christ understood the power he would have. He offered Christ what he offered was tempting. That's why it's called temptation. It's not like Christ didn't desire or didn't want any of this. But he denied it. Satan is going to roll off everything, because he knows once you get it in you, you belong to him permanently. There's no chance like it is now for you to choose the other side, the path that Christ made for us. It'll be the last choice you make, and you'll have no opportunity to change once you make this choice. It's Satan's masterpiece, his finished experiment. What he couldn't accomplish through Adam and Eve has been accomplished through this generation. Willing participants for his kingdom. Right? Elder Lawyer, now let's break it down. Let's go to Revelation 13. Lucifer's race. Revelation 13, verse 15. Let's read it.
Sir. Revelation 13 and 15. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed.
So it's going to be a thing where if those who don't agree with it, the world powers and all the governments will understand those in the earth who Christ has preserved for the kingdom. So Satan, this is Satan placing a line in the sand. Now he's going to be able to identify those who opposes his kingdom. See, right now, everybody just mixed all together right now. Even though COVID And what happened there showed a dividing line for those who didn't choose to do it. But things are too convoluted right now. But when this come down, now that they got the whole database intact, Satan and the government powers and militaries will know those they have to come after. Those who disagree will automatically put on that side and be like, these are the kingdom people who've been hiding amongst all of us. Now we don't have to wage war against the rest of the population. We just have to get rid of these guys. These people. And that will do what? It will allow us to maintain our power. If Christ's people are dead, there's no one left for him to come back for. Right? (16), let's read it.
Yes, sir. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads.
Now let's examine that real quick. To receive a mark in the 16th verse. Mark. It doesn't matter whether or not you're rich. You can be Donald Trump. You can be Bill Gates. You can be Jay-Z. You can be P. Diddy. Just using that as rich examples. Or poor. The poorest person, whether you be free or whether you be bond, whether you be homeless, doesn't matter. They will have housing for everyone who accepts this. This will solve the homeless epidemic. Anybody who does this, get a place to stay. And it says to receive a what?
A mark in their right hand or in their foreheads.
Mark. Charagma. Charagma is what? From the same as 5482. A scratch. An etching. A stamp. A badge of servitude. You will now be a what? A permanent servant. And folks, this is where man loses free will. You'll be controlled. Then it comes from Gocc. What is Gocc? Listen to this. Gocc, to sharpen, to a point. So what is John being shown here? A syringe. Shooting in the technology that makes all of God's people who choose this Lucifer's race. Now look at this. To sharpen a point, that's a syringe, through the idea of scratching or etching, so it pierces the skin. Now it also shows what happens to the minds of these people. What's in the solution? What's in this technology? What's in the chip? Listen. A palisade, a rampart, a military mound for circumvallation in a siege or a trench. So what is this? What is this? The signal is for them to surround the children of Israel like Rome did in 70 AD at Masada to starve the children of Israel out under a military mound or a siege. Immigration, anybody? These are the immigrants are going to have control over the food, over the resources in our community. It's a siege. And it's deep, Elder Lawyer. They're now bringing forth what was in their mind the whole time. And I'm speaking about the people who are so-called illegal or immigrants who came amongst us. They're now speaking the quiet part out loud. I heard a Nigerian sister say the other day, she was on TikTok, and she said, if you want to go to war with us, all of us immigrants will come together and we won't let you in our stores. We won't do this. You want to go to war with us? This Nigerian woman living in America with a strong Nigerian accent. And I'm like, whoa. Says, y'all want to go to war with us? We control your stores. We control your beauty supplies. We're your nurses. We're your doctors. So if you want to go to war with us, we'll just shut everything down and you'll have access to nothing. Speaking the quiet parts out loud. I'm like, whoa, especially what I'm reading right here. They put all of these people who doesn't have a personal connection to our struggle and have resentment against us in charge of all of the resources we would need to survive. I'm like, boy, this is prophecy playing out. They're going to relish cutting everything off from us. But what they aren't banking on is our God. And the fact that we see you. See? Because the Bible's tell you about those that would watch in every hour. Who's weighing all of this prophetically concerning what's going on in the earth to recognize where we are in prophecy. I said, isn't this something? They already have people in place who have resentment. Who can't wait for the opportunity to war against us. So when you go into this word mark, it's deep because it comes from charagma, but it also breaks down the root word, charax, which is what? A palisade or a military mound or circumvallation like it was at the Tower of Babel, folks, in a siege. So they're going to use these people with the mark of the beast and direct them to siege the children of Israel who are in the earth every place, who didn't take the mark, who refused the mark. So let me tell you, all the people that they are financing to come over here, if they're not chipped already, they will be chipped. Okay? They're not taking chances and just bringing just certain people over right now. These people have been vetted. And they know exactly what these people's intents are against us. Last scripture, Elder Lawyer.
Yes, sir.
But those who would stand in Christ and reject the mark of the beast, two more, are those we read of in Revelation 11. Those that are on the straight path that is being protected and guided by the Almighty here on earth. As you can see here, it says what? Revelations 13, and it says, and he calleth all that, both small and great, rich or poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their hand or in their foreheads. And that, here's a spinning system now, that no man might buy or sell. You will not be able to get any products or pay for anything, save, which means except, he that had that mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. And we know the beast is Satan. This is Satan now taking the place of God in the temples of men, in the minds of men. And they've already got the technology all in place. 5G and everything. All of these towers that communicate the Wi-Fi will be, folks, a communicator to those who have the technology in them. You will be controlled like robots. Revelation 12. And let's go down to the 11th and 12th verse, and we'll end it with Revelations 14. 11 and 12, if you will, Elder Lawyer.
All right, Revelation 12 and verse 11. And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives unto the death.
So how do we overcome the beast? We overcome him by the blood of the Lamb. Christ. It's his sacrifice, us accepting his sacrifice and receiving that sacrifice through baptism that hedges us through these troubles. Satan has his mark and Christ has his mark, sealed through the Holy Spirit that comes through baptism. See? So Satan had to create and make an artificial mark in order to mimic the spiritual mark that's given to those who believe in Christ, who've been baptized. See? Now, with the artificial mark, guess what? This is how Satan provides for those who chose him. With the spiritual mark, this is how Christ provides for those who chose heaven. See? You can only serve two masters. Either way, the Most High will provide. See? When I say either way, if we choose Christ, the Most High will provide. That means what they produce and had to give up the mark, have to give up their souls for to get, the Most High is still going to make sure we're provided for out of that. He have a task for the wicked to store up for the righteous in the day of trouble. That's scripture. He'll let the wicked store all they want and think it's just for them. So here it is. You didn't have to take it, but still you'll be getting the resources in the earth because the Most High had those resources grow in the earth for those who chose him. So we overcome not by acquiescing through fear, but through the blood of the Lamb, and by the word of their testimony, and they love not their lives unto the death. Guess what? We would rather choose death than to bow to the God of this world. Because we know, brothers and sisters, the resurrection is real. Therefore, read.
Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he have but a short time.
So they're in panic, folks. The Luciferians are in panic and fear. That's why they're progressing their program. They sped up their program knowing that their time is almost short. And the greatest indicator that their time is being cut short is the fact that everyone is recognizing who God's people are on the earth now. Even Gentiles. So the more they see, guess what? The next generation of children they know are going to grow up knowing that they're Israelites. That's why they shut down all the churches, because the churches cannot be utilized for what they need it for. They get rid of them. If they can't teach Satan's program in these buildings, there's no need for them. So one key indicator to the Satanists why they progress in their technology and bringing forth the mark of the beast, and one indicator to them that they know they got a short time, is the fact that what? The majority of the earth realize that they've been lied to. And they are now recognizing that the children of Israel now, that's right, we have arrived right on time according to the prophecy. And now the next generation of children aren't going to have to go through breaking their programming to know the truth. They'll know the truth from birth. So they say, listen, all bets off now. Let's bring forth the beast system so that we can identify the enemies amongst us and reward those who would actually worship Satan for a short time so that they can become part of Satan's army and eradicate the remnant that's on the path. That's their plan, folks. But here's God's plan. Let's now, Elder Lawyer, last scripture. Revelations 14, verse 8.
Yes, sir. Revelation 14 and 8.
Yes, sir.
And there followed another angel saying, Babylon is fallen, that great city, because she made all nations drink of the wine of the wrath of her fornication.
What verse you at again?
8.
Let's read it.
Revelation 14 and 8. And there followed another angel saying, Babylon is fallen, that great city, because she made all nations drink of the wine of the wrath of her fornication.
Read.
And the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, If any man worship the beast and his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of God.
Here's the third angel. If any man worship the beast and his image, and break down once you, like you did during coronavirus, and get this mark. And again, I'm going to tell y'all right now, the vaccination isn't the mark of the beast. Because people could still buy and sell with or without it. and there was a large number of placebos that the pharmaceuticals must have in the society when they roll out any vaccine. What is a placebo? Well, a placebo is almost like a saline, where nothing is in it at all. So we know that the vaccine in of itself isn't the mark of the beast, because people could buy or sell with or without it.
Mm-hmm.
But based on what we showed you with the genetic stuff, that's a component that will allow the bodies to accept the true mark of the beast without rejecting it. And the whole thing was a test run to make sure that the news, religious institutions, the corporations, the military, and all essential and non-essential needs for society, for the infrastructure of the system to go, that everything is in lockstep at once without a hitch. And they were able to test all of that with the international government powers, the governors taking position as presidents over their particular areas as governors under colonies. They did the whole test run for what the world will look like when they roll out the mark of the beast. That was the test run. Where now even the president of the United States would have to take what? Backstage to the world body system, the world governments. That was a test run. Let's read that last piece again, Elder Lawyer, verse.
Yes, sir. Verse number 9.
Yeah, 9 and 10.
Yes, sir. And the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the image and worship the beast and his image, and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of God, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation. And he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb.
Every person who take that bribe, here's your judgment. Read on.
11. And the smoke of their torment ascendeth up forever and ever, and they have no rest day nor night, who worship the beast and his image, and whosoever receiveth the mark of his name.
Come on.
Here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of God and have the faith of Yeshua.
And this is the patience of the saints, to see all this go down. And know that there's a blessed reward for rejecting Satan's briberies for a world that's going to be destroyed anyway. So why would I accept a mark to relish in a temporal kingdom knowing it's to be destroyed anyway? That's fool's gold. 13. And I heard a voice from heaven saying unto me, Write, blessed are the dead which die in the Lord from henceforth. Yea, saith the Spirit, that they may rest from their labors, and their works do follow them. And it says, and this is for the righteous, blessed are the dead which die in the Lord, who choose death over having Satan reign in their minds. Yea, saith the Spirit, that they may rest from their labors. Well, finally, we get rest. And their works do follow them. That's right. And through our works, we will reign in the kingdom that was shown to our forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. When Christ returns, we will reign from Zion. We're kingdom people. Real quick, because others out there are asking real quick, and I thought I would put it out there. Some people out there are asking about the shirt from the brother O'Shur that gave you and I these shirts. So that's the site if y'all would like to get the shirt. That's the site. Right? It's a brother in the church, Judah Clothing. I like the black one. The black one is hitting hard. I had that on Wednesday night. And you can get other items there, but I love the shirts. Right? Jake got next. Yeah, the black one is hitting hard, man. You know why? Because that gold really pops through with that black one. Elder Lawyer. A lot of people thought that me and you matched up today. They had no idea. We didn't talk until it was time to come on. I didn't know what you're going to wear.
Right, exactly.
But yeah, for those who would like to get it in different sizes, there it is right there. Support the brother's work. All right. Again, we're going into tomorrow. We're almost 3,000. All praises be to the Most High. We're going into the secret war of Edom against the children of Israel. Very good lesson. You don't want to miss that tomorrow. And it leads to the desolation of abomination. Right? And we're going to talk about that more in detail. The historical wars Esau have always waged. Whether it be the war against the Japanese, that was a war against us. The war against the Philippines, the war against Vietnam, all of that was against us, folks. The Spanish-American War, all of that was against us. When they trained us as the Buffalo Soldiers to get rid of Gad so that they can now bring in their new empire, America, that was still war using us against the Gadites. What week are we in now, Elder Lawyer? Week what, 9?
This week will be week 9.
Week 9. So we got what? We have almost another month. Do you know the date for the next academy? It should be.
Not offhand.
Yeah, it should be by the end of August. We'll have a date Wednesday, but by the end of August, that will probably start the new academy. Or it could be the first week in September, I think, because we usually take 1 week off. I think it will be in the first week of September. I'll give you all the date, but the enrollments are starting. Okay, the enrollments are starting. It should be the first week in September for the new academy. Go to historytimes.org to enroll, because you don't want to be one who try to enroll in the last minute and then the enrollments all pile up and you're calling and asking, well, hold up, I didn't receive my welcome pack, or whatever the case is. So if you're going to enroll, it's only $50 a month. It's more information that you'll get in a lifetime when it comes to understanding. You get Hebrew, you get the news, you get special guests, you get prepping information. You also get the classes none like any other in the earth with the resources. And guess what? There's no way, let me tell you, there's nothing like it in the earth. And for only $50, and we never went up in price, I'm going to tell you, it's the best $50 in a month you'll ever spend. Okay? Go to historytimes.org. And yes, the academy starts September 7th. September 7th, like I said, the first week in September. I guesstimated that. September 7th, we're taking enrollments for the September 7th Academy, okay? And again, the theme for this academy will be revelation, mysteries of the spiritual realm. We'll take a few questions in the chat. We'll take a few questions, and that will conclude our lesson for this evening. Someone asked a question here that I'll answer in a moment. One moment. And Elder Lawyer, if you see anything in the chat that need to be answered, you can answer for me.
Yes, sir. All right, we're officially open for questions. If anyone has any questions at this time. Again, if anyone has any questions at this time, we are officially open for questions.
I see a question here, Lawyer. I'll answer it, okay?
Yes, sir.
Here's a question that we have. Good day. I'd like to ask a question from the 207 area code. Okay. Let me go to the main in case you have to take a break, Elder Lawyer. I'd like to ask a question. If a person partake a syringe inserted in their nose, is that the same? Well, it depends on what that technology is. And again, we went over that, them breaking the barriers in the nose and all that, and the science behind that with these tests. The whole thing is, we're naturalists. Ain't nobody gonna stick nothing in our nose to test anything. Okay? We don't buy none of that. Whatever that is, they selling, we're not buying. Okay? We told people, even during the time that it was happening, that they can threaten you all they want. But if someone fire you from your job by not taking a medical test, that they are liable, that you can sue their behinds. And what happened? After it was all over, everything we told people was true. Them firemen in New York end up getting all that back pay when they was being forced to do something. Your job can't force you to do a medical treatment. I would have sat back and told them, listen, I can't do that. So do whatever you're going to do. All due respect. Because I'm performing at the height of the job, and this is what I fill out an application to do. And I'm doing it at the best of my ability. My behavior isn't a problem. I've always been a good employee. And guess what? I'm not here for you to decide me to take a medical procedure. I told people, a job can't tell you to do something medical without being liable. They can talk, but I dare you to fire me. I wouldn't say that, but I would say, listen, all due respect, I'm a man of Christ, and I'm not into that science stuff. As you can see, I'm not sick. So, I'm sorry. That's against my religion. That's against my religion. And I'll put it on record. It's against my religion. If they try to get me to sign something, I'm not signing nothing. I already signed the information that Human Resources gave me to have the job. Because what you're signing, it will allow them to fire you. Okay? When they bring you some new paperwork, it's to undo the original agreement, and now they can fire you without recourse. So when that happened, when they roll out the mark of the beast and try to tell you that you got to do this, like, listen, that's against my religion. If they fire you, you have legal recourse. Someone says she was traveling to Africa and she was required to take it to pass the test. No, she wasn't. They told her it was required. They told her that it was required. All she had to do was say, I can't do that. Sorry. And then she would have seen what the issues, whether or not what they were saying was true. I'd be like, nah. I don't get stuff stuck in my nose and I don't know what's in that. Or just, nah, I don't need you to test anything. Okay? I'm good. I don't know whether or not you taking something out or putting something in. I'm straight. All right? Let me show you something. They were doing the same crazy stuff up in Egypt. Look at it. Look at this. They were doing the same stuff in Egypt. Look at his hair. Don't tell me we aren't the children of Israel who was in Egypt. Look at this. Ancient Egyptian medicine. The sacred science and origins of healing practices. Look at it. Look at this. Doctors doing the same thing to us in Egypt. Look. I'm not going out like this. They were doing this to the slaves in Egypt. I'm like, step off. We good. Right? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. I'd be like, step off. There's nothing new under the sun. The crazy satanic doctors were doing this stupid crap back then. The answer is no. So I'm be like, listen, that can't happen. So where do we go now? Because you ain't sticking nothing up in my nose. So what you want to do? Let me speak to your manager. Okay? Then they'll try to claim, well, hold up. Other people, I've done it, nothing wrong with me. Listen, that's your body. That's your business. So don't try to project on me. I'm not doing it. Step off. And the sister said that the sister that got the stuff stuck up her nose, she's been acting strange lately. Hey. I would say exit right. Exit right. Okay, D'Artagnan says, I am looking for men of the Most High to take the field of Mars with me and the Maccabees. And the Maccabees? What do you mean by that? I don't understand what you're saying by that. Taking the field of Mars. I don't know what that is. All right, Elder Lawyer, let's get ready for the class tomorrow, my brother.
Yes, sir.
That concludes our lesson. The mark of the beast is here. Do not acquiesce. Stand strong. We are the children of Israel, and that's right, we are back. Have a blessed Sabbath. Shalom. And keep in mind, that's right, the Most High is calling back the children of Israel. Get ready. It's about to go down. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you, Lord.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
The East is where we're from. The 12 tribes of Israel. In 721 BC, the Assyrian king, he took us down, we fell. With a great escape, we went through the Euphrates. The Lord held the water still. To a land where no mankind dwelt, we went. The 12 tribes of Israel. That's who we be. Manasseh, the Cubans, Ephraim from Puerto Rico, and Valley from the Isles of Hawaii. The Lord is calling back Israel. Zebulon from Panama, Gad, the North American Indians, Simeon, the Dominicans. Our highest gathering Israel. The Arabs and Africans told us. Together our wives and children then sold us. In the belly of these great ships we traveled and fed. By the rivers of Babylon we found our brothers here. A high gatherer in Colombia, Reuben from Australia, Issachar, the Mexicans. A highest gathering Israel. Negroes, Benjamin, the West Indians, Levi, the Haitians. The highest gathering in Australia, Issachar, the Mexicans. That's who we be. Judah, the Negroes, Benjamin, the West Indians, Levi, the Haitians, Manasseh, the Cubans, Ephraim from Puerto Rico, and Valley from the Isles of Hawaii. The Lord is calling back Israel. Zebulon from Panama, Gad, the North American Indians, Simeon, the Dominicans. Our highest gathering